My name is Pastor Kevin Robertson here from Marina Church, and I have someone that is going to be interesting today. And the thing is, I love this guy. I really do love this guy. I have no idea where this interview is going to go, but we're going to go for it. So let me, first of all, introduce you. This is Alex Mora. Welcome, Alex.
What's up? Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Kev.
You are so welcome, buddy. Alex, how did we meet?
Oh, man.
Because the thing is, let me tell you this. We met at Herman Church.
Yeah.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was 26 years ago.
About 25, 26, because I've been married for 22, so it had to be 4 years before that.
Yeah. And so I just remember, because your brother and I were running the youth group then, and we called it Wednesday night session.
Yeah.
And which was crazy. And your brother and I, we thought we were doing a really great job because of AJ. We were running like 150 kids on every Wednesday night.
A bunch of crazy kids.
Yes, including you too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so anyway, so the WNS, and I still remember those were cool days if you think about it. So how did you meet your well, let's go to your marriage. How did you meet your wife?
Well, I met, as you guys know, my brother AJ has been in the music business for a really long time. And so he was DJing at that time.
Okay.
At a club called Florentine Gardens, the Dome in Hollywood. Okay. I was selling CDs and candy for him at the booth. I wasn't even supposed to be there. It's like 21 and over club. I'm selling stuff at 18, 19 inside this club. And here comes that beautiful woman, Sandra, walking down the stairs. I was with a friend, and his girlfriend was there, and she knew her. And so she said hi to her, and I was like, wow, look at this girl. She's so cute. I called her over to the booth, sat her down, said the things I said, what's up, and then, 22 years later, we're still married.
Jeez, what was your pickup line? Do you know that?
My pickup line was, I got her hand and I put like the signature that I used to have on her hand.
Okay.
And that was it. I tagged her. I marked her.
That's cool. Now, I remember going to the Dome. Do you remember the Dome?
Yeah.
It was what your brother.
That was it. That's where we met.
Oh, was it the Dome?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing is, now that was a funky place. Because the thing is, your brother invited me over and said to DJ, and I'm a guy that goes to bed by 9 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
So
you've been going to bed. You've been going to bed at 9 o'clock since I've known you for over 25 years.
No, I do. And so the thing is, I went at. He goes, I'm DJing, I'm playing, I'm gigging, or whatever he said, at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And I go, are you serious? He goes, yeah. It's just like, it was 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning or something.
Yeah.
But the Dome was nuts. It was just like the whole atmosphere, and it was so stinking loud. So I don't know how in the world you met your wife at the Dome.
Yeah.
Because you just have to yell at someone in their ear right there 3 inches away to get.
My brother, it's cool. My brother says, if DJing at the Dome, just you and Sandra meeting, that was enough for me. The fact that
really?
I met my wife there because, think about it. We started, a whole family has been because of that. So.
Now, was she a believer then? Or
she was not a believer then. She was, she was raised just like most Latinas in California and raised in, as a Catholic,
Right.
And so she wasn't, reformed Christian, as you could say, or whatever. But, no, she wasn't a believer. She knew who God was, but there was no relationship there, and I remember inviting her to Herman.
Wow. So remind me of your dad. Your dad was Alvaro.
My dad is Alvaro.
And your mother is
Zoraida.
Okay, and they're still together, which is
They're still
great.
together over 50 years. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And your dad was a pastor, wasn't he?
Yes, he still is like an associate pastor.
Okay.
He's at now, but he's been a pastor for over 35 years now. 36.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. And so,
pastor's kid for sure. I'm a pastor's kid.
so let me show you this picture. This is your dad, right right in the middle there.
Yeah.
And this is AJ on your dad's left.
Yes.
And this is your mother where?
Down there on the corner.
On the corner with the reddish hair?
With the reddish hair, yeah.
So they've been together for over 50 years now.
Yes, married together for.
And they have some of the most beautiful kids on the planet.
There's 7 of us.
Okay, so we're not, all 7 are not here in this picture, right?
No, all 7 are out there in the picture. There's only 3 there. Stephanie, who's hugging my dad, my brother, and Mossy, that's next to my mom. Okay. Sandra's next to me.
Now, it's interesting, Alex, like when you're a pastor's kid, like I am, you go in a funk. You're just done with church at the time. And I remember that I was looking at the hypocrisy within the church itself. And I literally told my dad that I would prefer to go to hell than be with these hypocrites.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you ever got to that point where you just said, I'm done. Mm-hmm. And have you ever got to that point?
I mean, I don't know if it happened like that with you, where you were just sick of the hypocrisy. I think it's one of those things where you, it's no longer your parents' religion, right? It's like, right. You've got to take ownership, and you get to a place where you're like, is this really what I want? Mm-hmm. Really what I want to do? Right. You know, it's like falling into all these boxes.
Right.
And so, I mean, I definitely got to a place where I decided that I was going to run or turn away from God, even though I knew I knew he was real.
Right.
And I knew his hand in my life because I had seen it in my parents. But I had gone to this place where it's like I didn't want it.
Right.
Like, no, God, leave me alone. Like, I want to do my own thing, type of thing, you know. And that kind of slowly began to happen, of course, as I got older.
Right.
You know, I mean, I was a devout youth. Like, as a youth, I was in love with God. But as you know, as I crossed over 21, 22, it was just like, I don't know if this is what I want, even though I could feel like his hand here. It was like, leave me alone.
No, I get it. Yeah. It's almost to the point that you almost have to be rebirthed again. I mean, you just, there gets to a point where you're just going, I can't do this. I can't live in this fishbowl.
Yeah.
Because I'm being judged, and I'm getting judged by other parents' kids that are not nearly as good as I've been. And I've noticed that I was more concerned about behavior modification rather than transformation.
Yeah, totally.
You know, and so
it becomes one of those things where it's kind of like where you no longer, like I said, you have to take ownership, right? It's like you want, do I want God? Do I want to pursue you for me, or do I want to pursue you because everybody thinks I should be?
Right.
You know, and I think, as you know, as we'll get into it, I guess my journey went to a place where I realized that I needed the promises of who he was in my life, you know.
But it's interesting because where you were was right at the rock bottom in a sense, but it wasn't just like a big decision there. It was what I saw was just little decisions here and there. You know, I'm not going to do this. Is not important. And you became more self-centered than marriage-centered.
Yes.
And so if you can explain that journey that you went, that your wife endured, but she stuck with you.
I think try to keep it short, right? Like try to keep it like brief, summarize. You know, I think it becomes one of those things again where it's like, little by little, I can see or feel God's voice pursuing what He kind of wants from me.
Right.
Which is kind of in line of what my wife wants too.
Right.
And so it's like slow little, no, I don't want that.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that. And so
Right.
slowly, yeah, like you said, it's this ongoing, I keep pushing away what God is calling of me, what my wife is expecting me, and I want more Alex selfishness. Because, you know, I was diagnosed early on. I forget the age at the time. I don't know, late 20s, early 30s. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Right.
And so for me, at least personally, I took that as the enemy used that in my ear in retrospect, but I took that as like a badge of I should be able to do whatever I want.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm sick.
Yeah.
I'm sick. Like I have bipolar depression. Bipolar is like a fingerprint. You can't diagnose each one. None is the same. And so no one understands me. So that was this perfect line that the enemy just used, you know.
Wow.
He put it in my ear to be able to say, you know what, you don't understand me. I'm predisposed to be sad, depressed. So I want to do X, Y, Z. This is what makes me happy. You can't understand that.
Right.
And that was part of it. So that being labeled as sick.
Okay.
So little by little, I pushed away from God and took that sickness as a means to begin to self-medicate, right?
And how did you self-medicate? Is it through
alcohol
drugs?
To begin?
Okay.
It started with alcohol, and then it turned into drugs for sure. Okay. What drugs? Everything you can think of. I mean, there was some. I mean, it's like I stood off the crack, I guess you could say. But there was other things. I mean, I was doing things that I definitely shouldn't be doing, and got to a place where I was going to take my own life. Wow. My wife had to take me and my dad to the hospital. And Sandra, I mean, all those years, I mean, she endured a lot for many years, but it really came down to like a couple of years, right? Where it just really turned really bad, where I just really pushed her away, pushed my kids away.
Yeah. Do you remember how old your children were then?
So I'm going to be 8 years sober in February. So
that is crazy. 8 years?
8 years in February.
Well, congratulations, buddy.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Because
so it was 8 years ago this November that you walked into my house to kick me out. I almost punched you, buddy.
No. Okay. Let me tell you. It was Sandra's doing. You know that, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Sandra pulled me in. I was at this church, and I was at the Pasadena campus.
Yeah, you were at Pasadena.
And I was going back and forth at the Pasadena campus. And she told me, he needs to be out. Alex needs to be out. And she goes, and I think she said, can you kick him out? And I went, yeah. And I'm thinking in my head, I have no idea I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
It's because I haven't seen you back then 8 years ago. It was
it's been a couple of years.
It was 10 years.
Yeah. Something.
So she goes, there's my house. Just walk in and down to leave. And I just remember thinking, you've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding. And so I just took a deep breath, started going out there. I walked out, and I remember you were in the kitchen making a sandwich.
Yeah. At 4 in the afternoon, I was making breakfast in my time.
And you go, hey, Rev Kev, that's what you said. And I go, hey, buddy. And I just remember talking to you for a while and just said, you need to leave. And thank goodness you didn't punch me.
Yeah. Bro, seriously, I was ready to say, excuse me, yeah, bro, you're going to come into my house and tell me to leave? Why don't you get... But I didn't. Something happened. But I want to go back in retrospect for a second. I want to explain how powerful, my wife, Sandra, you know, she's my faith hero.
Yeah.
Because if there's ever been a valiant fight of faith and holding on to faith, it's Sandra. Because, you know, like you had said earlier, she didn't even believe or relationship with God when we first met, that type of relationship. And it was at Herman where she, you know, where it started, where I remember her saying, don't ever bring me back to that church again at one point. And then she ended up coming, and we ended up, you know, we spent 20 years at Herman. 18,
Wow.
how long? 18, 20 years. 22 years at Herman we ended up spending before we left. But, you know, she's the one that in the worst moment, you had my own family saying, leave him.
Yeah.
And she heard God's voice saying, hold on.
Right.
Hold on. You have no idea what I'm doing. And so
wow.
She had every right to walk away, and she did it. She held on because she trusted in who God was. And it's because of her faith that it came full circle, because, you know, her forgiveness, her grace, and her faith in God
Right.
is what led to the opportunity when, after you kicked me out a month later, I think,
Yeah.
to be able to come back and begin to reconcile that was. So I don't want to minimize how important
Right.
Andrew's role in all this is, because her faith.
Right.
In who
No,
God.
it was just incredible, and her taking you back in, it took faith too. And here's the thing: you spoke at our church years ago, and you had this phone and you had this app, and you said it's 32 days. 32 days, 8 hours, 6 hours.
I have it still. You want to see it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
it's interesting to me that it was like 32 days, and I threw you up on the platform and said, go for it, you know, and stuff like this. So, okay. So what does the app know? That was 32 days ago.
Yeah, and let's look at this. Let's see. It's getting most recent stats.
Skin stats.
Yeah. Okay, so it says, I don't know if you can see it.
Okay. Okay, I can see the screen, but what's it say?
Yeah, so it says 2,806 days.
Well, congratulations, buddy.
7 years, 8 months, 6,414 hours. I've saved 5,520,197 calories.
How did you?
And I've saved over $30,000.
Are you serious?
On alcohol alone.
Wow.
And because I stopped smoking at the same time.
Okay.
I've also saved $28,000 from cigarettes. So over almost $60,000
wow.
in 8 years.
It just shows you how much you were spending and all that stuff. So the thing is, I've seen people like yourself make a commitment, and then all of a sudden they're going sober for 6 months, 7 months, and then they just go down, and then they just go down. But what kept you committed to this journey of yours, from being crazy drinker, smoker, all this stuff, to who you are now?
You know, the day that I fell on the floor at my parents' house and cried out to God,
okay,
face first, and said, God, take this away from me, right? I'm losing my wife. Take this away from me. Take away the sickness in my head, this lie of bipolar. Just take that away. Take away these addictions. When God took that away from me, because I felt it like an air come out of my body on the floor.
Wow.
That day, you know, I asked him to save me from who I had become. And he reminded me who I really was, right? And that's not who the enemy was telling me I had become, but that I was his child, and that he loved me and that he cared for me. And so the difference is that day I made a commitment to honor and serve him forever.
Wow.
And so ever since, I mean, that's.
But the thing is, what's interesting, so it was perspective that changed about you are not what the devil's telling you. You are God's beloved child.
Yes. And the fact that I called out and said, if it's true, take this away from me.
Right.
If it's true, if everything you told my parents that I am, and all and this religion and this faith that my wife has, and Kevin, I've known him all my life, almost punched the guy, and and he's always been a pastor. So if he thinks you're real, my brother was a pastor, he thinks you're real. Lord, it was basically like one of those calls, right? Like, God, if it's real, I know the Bible says don't test them, and I wasn't testing them. I was asking for help.
Right.
And so, yeah, because he showed up in such a powerful and real way, there was no way for me to deny that.
Right.
And so it was definitely a change of perspective. And it was, the perspective change was, I am a child of God.
Yeah. And so talking about being a child of God, you had 2 children yourself at that time, didn't you?
Yes. Yes.
So because I remember they were quiet. They were very quiet to this whole thing. And how in the world, these 2 boys, they're incredible good looking, despite their father. And so if you look at this and you're just going, man, and I think one of them just graduated.
Well, one of them graduated high school, is now at Azusa Pacific, which is the one next to his mom. The one next to me is a senior at Azusa. So they're going to Azusa together. One's a senior, one's a freshman.
Okay. So they were 11, 10 years old, or
Matthew is 18. So Matthew was about 11, and Alexander was.
Okay. Tell us, because obviously your children were looked up to you, and because everyone wishes they could look up to their dad. You have a wonderful dad too. How did you, or did you have to gain the trust of your children?
Well, I mean, I had to sit them each down and ask for forgiveness.
Okay.
And in that asking of forgiveness, I had to let them know that I didn't expect them to forgive me.
Okay.
I was just letting them know that I was asking. I wanted to know that I was sorry for what I had put them through.
Right.
And I remember my youngest son got angry with me and was, like hitting his bed saying, like, why did you leave me? Why did you do that to me? And it was such this broken moment of just hearing, you abandoned me for a moment of my life that, it's like, and now and I was like, all I could say was I was sorry and that it would never happen again, and that they could trust that I would be who they expected me to be and the father they wanted me to. And yeah, I mean, it was within the year that they forgave me, that they each came and said that they forgave me. And
really, so it wasn't like they said, "I will forgive you" right away. It was
no.
Like,
I mean, they, I mean, obviously they were upset, and again, I went in with no expectations. I just needed to go in there and ask for forgiveness.
Right.
But I mean, it was rather quickly where they did, accept me back as somebody who they could trust, know, and ever since then, I mean, we've had, our relationship is great now with the both of them. We have a great relationship.
No, I could see that. And what's interesting too, so was Sandra kind of apprehensive when you did come back? Did she eventually forgive, or has she forgiven, or?
Oh no, I mean for sure she was apprehensive. In the sense of it was happening so fast. But she tells a story when she tells her version of the testimony of how she went to my aunt, and that my aunt reminded her, but isn't this what you've been praying for?
Yeah.
And so she did what she's always done, and what I've always known Sandra to do. She trusted in God's promises at that moment. So she put away her apprehension and said, you know what, you're right. I have been praying for this. So I'm going to trust that this is God, that it's God's doing. And so she did, she did quickly let her guard down in the sense of, I'm going to trust this. And of course, we had our little, bumps along the way, things I would say or things she would say that would take us back to these moments. But but together we were able to work into a reconciliation, and it's been for me and our relationship the best 8 years of our marriage.
The thing is, it's interesting because you say this, but you're still, it's just like me. I annoy the heck out of my wife at times. And I noticed your Facebook posts when you have this deer and it's jumping like this, and you go, "This is me annoying my wife. Are we getting ready?"
Yeah. Oh no. I even tell her, I play it for her, and I'm saying, "Babe, I'm feeling really strong the need to aggravate you tonight." So yes, it's rude, and she says, "No, please."
No, because my wife goes, "Why do you do this when you know it annoys me?" And I go, "I don't know."
Well, I'm going to start telling Sandra, if Pastor Rev could do it, then I can. That's a man of the cloth there.
No, I know. Because there's sometimes she sits on the couch sometimes, and I go, "It'll be one time this year that I'm going to pull your ankles all the way off." And I would grab her ankles, and I would go, "Is this the time? Is this the time?" So,
that's funny. Yeah.
And then I wonder, why is she so mad? Why does she get mad at me? It's so dumb. So anyway, you got this relationship restored with your children and restored with now, one thing that I've noticed is you posted this picture of you and your brother, which I think, oh shoot, where is it? Which I think is very, very interesting. Let me try to.
Hey, I want to show you something. Stay right there. I want to show you.
Okay. Yes, this is the first time someone actually laughed during an interview.
Yeah. Okay. So first time for everything. So I don't know if you remember this.
Okay, let's see.
This paper right here. This is actually a paper that you asked Sandra to write when we met in Pasadena, right, my love? Yeah. When Pasadena.
Is that your wife there?
Yeah, she's off to the side. So I don't know if she wants to come on camera, and I'll teach her. But you asked her, Sandra, write 1, 2, 3, 4. Write 5 things that make you feel safe.
Ooh.
You told me to do that.
Okay.
That day in Pasadena when you were trying to get us to allow her to tell me to come back.
Because let me tell you, because to me back then, I still remember, now I remember, that one of the key things to Sandra is for her order to feel safe. That's what a wife wants to feel. And I always ask my wife, "Do you feel safe?" Every once in a while I'll say, "Do you feel safe?" And so it's always been absolutely. So let me see these things, 5 things, because I don't remember them.
So I'll mention being physically there for me and the kids.
Okay.
Being financially responsible, because you remember how irresponsible it was.
Right.
Taking physical care of yourself. Honesty. And taking care of yourself because it makes me feel like you care and are able to care for me.
Okay.
And I remember those were the 5 things, 2013, that's when it all happened. And almost every year since, I created these little boxes that say yes or no. And I bring it to her every year since then and have her, am I still making you feel safe? And you can see she's marked down 14, 15, 16, 17, 2020. Again, every anniversary, so in February, I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
That's when I came back, which will be 2021. And so every year since, she's marked off yes to each one of those. And I keep it in my Bible because it's one of the most important lists for me.
No, that is so cool. That is so awesome. And the thing is, I've noticed things too, is you almost fell back in love in a deeper sense with Sandra.
Oh yeah, 100%.
To get to a point where you go, because you let's be honest with you, you had some resentment towards her in 2012, 2013, and now you're just totally, I see it all over your Facebook because you go, I love my wife, and stuff like this. And I don't know, do you love Sandra more than the Dodgers?
Yes.
Just because you're just a Dodger fanatic, aren't you?
Yeah, more than my car. No, I'm just kidding.
So, hey, let me see Sandra. Let me say hi to her. Does she want to say hi?
I don't know if she wants. She says she's not presentable.
Okay, that's fine. And so,
No, Sandra. No, seriously. Yes, I adore my wife.
Yeah.
And it's more than just this physical and attraction and all. I mean, it really comes down to I really see her as an absolute gift
right.
from God.
Come on. She is a gift.
She's an azer. She's the azer. God gives me the Holy Spirit and Sandra.
Right.
Like.
And the thing is, Sandra is just, to me, from 2012 to now, she has your back. She has your back, absolutely. She has it. Okay, so let's kind of move on here.
Yeah.
The Lord put on your heart to do a ministry a few years ago, okay? And what was that ministry?
So, well, the ministry is called the Love Story Foundation.
Okay.
And yeah, he put this idea back in 2017 in my heart. I don't want to make this part too long or whatever, but I need to talk about it because it's such a powerful revelation. So God had taken me out of that hole, right? That miry pit, restored everything.
Right.
But just like us humans are onion layers, right? I still had these layers of other things that God wanted to do.
Right.
One of those being my own vanity, right? Vanity, and as an entrepreneur in Los Angeles, it was also, hey, I should be making millions of dollars.
Right.
Right? Like I'm done with these small business stuff.
Right.
It's time for me to step up. So,
I want to live in the Bel Air.
Come on.
Yeah.
I got an office in Silver Lake. It's close enough, I got an office in Silver Lake. I launched this new agency. I partnered up with a couple of other people, all with the notion of, God, I know you've been since 2013 saying you're going to use me for something bigger, but I need to get to a place financially before I could do that.
Right.
And so started this business. He took it away, right? Because it was not of him, it was of Alex. And it was during that time when we were stripped of everything, when I had, again, financially lost almost everything. Not because of the miry stuff now because of me wanting to create wealth.
Right.
And telling God, the moment that happens, then I'll do what you're asking me to do, Lord. And he took it away and he sent me to Mexico on this trip.
Right.
A confirmation that came from different people, amazing, miraculous confirmation to go down there. I had no idea what I was going down there for. And it was down there that he birthed the ministry of Love Story Foundation. And the Love Story Foundation is basically telling the stories of paradigm shifting ministries and leaders who are changing their communities for Jesus because they decided to follow exactly what God's called them to. Right. So the communities are changing, right? Like these communities have changed and the paradigm has changed, and these are communities for Jesus, right? That started the idea was planted in 2017. It started taking fruition in 2018. In 2019, God began to put in my heart that in 2020 we were going to launch off.
Okay. So let me go back to the ministry thing.
Yeah.
So it's almost to the point you're seeing people be totally obedient to their callings, and I remember you telling me to the point where it challenged you to be obedient to your calling as well.
Yes.
So
that was powerful.
Yeah, it got to the point where you go, I admire these people, but I could be this person, right?
Well, what's crazy was I admired their faith.
Yeah.
I admired the fact, and it wasn't even their faith. I admired at looking at the results of their faith.
Yeah.
That God was actually showing up because of their faith. And it was like, and all I kept hearing from them was, I was just being obedient.
Right.
I finally just took the step of faith of what God was calling me to do and surrendered it fully.
Yeah.
And then I start talking, and then I start mentioning how like some of the things that God has been putting in my heart, He wants me to do. And I remember the guys that, you know, was a confirmation and is now one of my mentors and friends. His name is Adam. I remember him telling me, count the cost, buddy. Count the cost.
Yeah.
To follow Jesus that way is everything. And I was like, but it was funny because when he told me that, it wasn't like it scared me. It was more like you know what? But the way he said it was with God having your back, counting the cost this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna see this fruit. So it was almost like a challenge, and it was like, you know what? You're right. I need to just surrender everything and move forward with what he's
so to count the cost, you're going 2000. You know, he didn't even think, because this was what, last year or.
That was in 2017. So 2008, 2019 is when God started putting.
So you decided, let's go for it in 2020. Let's just trust it. Let's go for it. Not knowing there was a pandemic.
No, not knowing there was a pandemic.
Did you go, are you serious? Because I seriously thought, okay, the pandemic is going to be a month. We'll be back on Easter. Okay, it's been 6 months. You know, it was March. We're in October now. So whatever that is, we haven't had church. We haven't met in the sanctuary. And I believe in my heart, the Lord is transforming the church and changing the church and more like Christ. And you're going, okay, I need to shake this up. I need to shake you guys up. So to me, I have been totally shaken up. And let alone having my surgeries and all that stuff. And so for you, has it shook you up?
Well, at the beginning, I was that, oh God, what pandemic? You said, like if the world revolves around Alex and Love Story, right? You said we were launching this. No, he's reminded me in the last 8 months or 6 months since this has happened, that it was never about the ministry. And it was never about anything more than complete surrender. And so every day for Sandra and I, it's been a reminder that our goal as encouragers to encourage people and to find ways that we can use the time and the resources that we have to help. And so he's opened these doors to help tremendously during this pandemic. You know, we have fed over 4,000 families in India through Love Story. We've given away Bibles to the people who are giving their lives to Jesus because of these feedings. And what you got to understand about India is the reason why we even got involved in that is because we found out that when the families in India found out that they were going to be let go for a month, the father started like taking out the family. Like they were committing suicide because for them to be out for a month means they're going to starve because no one's going to show up. They buy the food for the following day, the day before, with their 60 cents a day. That's when they buy their food. So God opened this door for us to make a video, and we've raised the money to feed over 4,000 families. And out of those 4,000, I mean, almost over 20 people or families have given their lives to Jesus because of it. So God has allowed and opened the door for us to continue to work, which is awesome.
Well, no, that's fantastic. And it's just interesting, too, because it's for me, when in my church, I have to trust the process. I have to trust God in this situation because I kept preaching, this is God's church. This is his church. These are his people. And you just go, you know, but sometimes you have this control in your life, like, I can't do this. And I always tell people this, that, you know, people are not going to say to Kevin, oh man, I did not know. I didn't have a will for you after 58 because I didn't think you would live this long, you know? And so I don't know when I'm just going to leave you. No, he never leaves you nor forsakes.
Yeah.
And so you've come a long way. I'm so stinking proud of you. I'm stinking proud of your wife. I just think you guys have an incredible ministry. And thank you, Alex. And if you look down at the links below, you can click on the link and find out more about Alex Mora's ministry. And if you want to support it, you can support it through the Alex,
Yes,
right?
yes. You can support through the website and stuff.
Yeah, you can. So if you see you got some of those videos on there that shows you that stuff, support him. You would love to support him and his ministry. And God bless you. You guys have a great day. And thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Kev.
Okay.
Love you, bro.
No. I love you.